Welcome to the Chief's Corner. In this episode, Chief Shon Barnes sits down with special guest Joe Balles of the Madison Community Policing Foundation. Chief, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm very excited because we're here to talk about a special gift that was gifted to our police officers from our Madison Community Policing Foundation. So Joe, tell us, what is the Madison Community Policing Foundation?
It'll be a pleasure, Chief. In my 32 years with the department and retiring in January 2016, one of the things that I embraced about this department was its progressive legacy around problem solving and community policing.
Yes.
And I was very fortunate to work for 3-4 different chiefs that kept that going, and I see that you're going to do that too. When I retired in 2016, one of the things I saw missing was that there wasn't an organization that existed to really support the community policing efforts in the department. Most of the police department's budget is for nuts and bolts things. It's for salaries, it's for squad cars, it's for putting the officers out in the street and the other support staff in the department. But to do some of the really kind of little things we do would be to help sponsor or support a community picnic, some midnight basketball, whatever it might be. I wanted to create a vehicle to have some money there to be able to support the community policing mission of the police department.
I appreciate that. And also to support our officers in what they do. And I think it's important that our officers know that there are people, they're not all retired police officers, but they're members of our community who want to let us know that they appreciate the work that we do.
Yeah, we were started by it was myself, Pia Kinney James, who was retired here as an investigator, Sherry Walter Twing, a detective, Officer Jean Paplia, Sergeant Pete Schmidt. We were the initial incorporators that created the 501c3. Then most recently, Joe Durkin, Sergeant Joe Durkin, was a longtime MPPOA president, is now on our board, and a name very familiar to people who just retired, Joel Despain, recently joined our board. So our board now is up to 7 people. And we support the law enforcement and community policing activities, but we also, part of our mission is to honor the men and women who worked the job today and who worked it yesterday. And lastly is to grow the relationship between the police and the community in any way we can.
Right. I absolutely love that mission. And one of the ways that our Madison Community Policing Foundation wants to honor every officer here is with a challenge coin. But this is not like any other challenge coin that you've seen, or maybe one that comes out of the chief's office. This is a challenge coin specifically designated for our officers to acknowledge the work that you all did in 2020. 2020 was a rough year. We policed during a pandemic. And so to commemorate that, our police foundation, Community Police Foundation, commemorated this coin, this challenge coin. For those of you who do not know, challenge coins showed up first in our history back during the Roman Empire. Roman soldiers were often given challenge coins for bravery on the battlefield. It showed up again in our history during the Protestant Reformation, where challenge coins were actually given to church members who were prosecuted for their religion. And it was a challenge coin. If you didn't have it, you couldn't come into church. You had to show that you belong, because church members were being persecuted. And another time it showed up in our history is obviously during World War I, where it was given to soldiers to buy drinks and things of that nature for their bravery. And so this is a special challenge coin. I think it's special because on one side it says we're in this together, and it has the Latin for selfless public service on one side. And I think this is very important. What does selfless public service mean to you?
I think that's why we all get into this job. It's the calling. It really is. I mean, all of us think back when we applied to be police officers. We know we do that selflessly. You're not going to become a millionaire being a police officer. You do it for the good of the community and what's in your heart. And I think that's the root. I think that's the definition of selfless public service.
Absolutely. And selfless public service is also what you do with your foundation, because when we came to you with this idea, you didn't think about it. You didn't say, I'll get back to you. You didn't say, let me run this by the board. The answer was yes. And I think in a matter of a couple of weeks, we already had this. On the other side, it says COVID-19 pandemic. And I'm a history guy. My degree is in history, as you probably can tell. But when one of our officers get this, and they may put it away in a drawer or place it somewhere in their office, what would it mean to them? You serve how many years?
32 and a half.
32. So that young rookie officer who's riding around, he's going to take this, or she's going to take this, and going to put it up. 32 years later, COVID-19 pandemic, it says stand apart but serve together. What is it going to mean for that person 32 years from now?
I think, Chief, what it's going to mean is that people are going to look back and realize that 2020, 2021, there were things that we learned about ourselves, about the organization, and about our community. They're going to live with us and help us for years and decades going forward. Nobody could have ever foreshadowed what we've been through the past year. And to be dealing with just the social issues that we're dealing with on top of the pandemic, and for police to be front and center of all of this on the front lines, it's just been an incredibly trying year. And I just want you to know, on behalf of the foundation, we're honored to be able to partner with the department on this recognition and honor, because all the men and women from both commission to staff, civilian staff, they have just did yeoman work this year, adapting to the situation.
Absolutely, and well said, and we thank you and we appreciate it. So every member, commission and non-commission, will get this commemorative challenge coin, COVID-19 pandemic, stand apart, serve together. And on the other side, it says we're in this together, which we are, and it says it's the Latin for selfless public service. This is very important because, we really want to commemorate the work, the hard work that we did over the past year. I want you to know from the Chief's office that I appreciate the work that you did. It's not over. We still have more work to do, but we may bend a little bit, but we certainly don't break. And the way we do that is by serving together. Joe, I really appreciate it, sir. And on behalf of the police department,
Absolutely.
Thank you for doing this for us, sir.
You bet.
Thank you.
Bet.
Thank you. And Joe, lastly, for our audience out there, how can members of the community find out more about MCPF? What's the best way?
Oh, thank you, Tyler. People can donate to the MCPF through our website, MadisonCommunityPolicingFoundation.org. Or on our website, there's also we have a PO box. You can just send us a check. We've raised almost $300,000 in the first 5 years to support a variety of projects that the department's doing. Too many to go talk about right now, but we really it's sacred to us, that relationship, and people see what we do. None of our money goes to any administrative cost or anything like that. Everything goes back to projects that we're doing to help support MPD and UWPD. There's been a couple other departments that we've helped along the way too.
Great.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you both, and thank you all for watching this episode of Chief's Corner.
Thanks.